are the best times of our lives.
These are the best times of our lives. It's Emily and Alex reviewing the movie from 1986, Killer Party. Are you ready?
I am
So
ready.
I'll read the back of. I do have the VHS box on this one, so I am reading the back. Everyone is dying for an invitation. College pranks are mixed with murder, madness, and demonic possession in this suspenseful thriller set on a university campus. Phoebe, Vivia, and Jennifer are three pretty co-eds enduring the rigors of pledging a popular sorority. The hazing is nothing compared to what's in store for them at the annual April Fool's party in the abandoned Delta Sigma fraternity house. The cold, brooding structure has been boarded up and off limits for decades, ever since the death of a student gone with a student in a practical joke gone awry. Sorry. But the house isn't empty, and whatever is inside has been waiting for 20 years. Now it's come to a party. Now it's time to... I can't read. So now time has come at a party that's going to be a real killer. There you go. Featuring Paul Bartel as Professor Zito, this blend of surprises and shocks will keep you guessing and screaming until the last guest leaves. Feet first. Feet first? I mean, what is that supposed to mean?
I guess
Anyway.
Stretcher into the ambulance or something. I don't know. Dead.
I mean, it would be more apt to say head first, but whatever.
True. I don't know what they're saying.
So what are your thoughts on this movie?
Well, I think this is a totally underrated movie in the sense that I'm pretty sure it had a super limited theatrical release, and then like it had an even like worse like VHS release. So like I never even heard of this movie until high school, and I've only met a handful of people who've even heard of it or let alone seen it. So I definitely think it's underrated because it actually is a pretty solid film, I think. I mean, you look back on it and it's the first movie that I've ever seen that's a movie within a music video. That was pretty freaking wild. And then this entire movie, we think that we're in a slasher movie. I mean, we're on this academic setting. If it's a slasher, it's usually in the woods or on college, it seems. So we're in this academic setting, the natures of these deaths and just the weird stuff happening, and then, but as the movie goes on, we start noticing these like spooky light occurrences. I say spooky light because it doesn't really
going through her eyes.
Yeah, it's very subtle. We probably paid no mind to it. We might have just thought it was, attributed to a B movie tactics or something. But then once we think the movie's over, then it flips us on our heels and it like turns into the Evil Dead or something. So I loved it.
I watched this again last night because it had been a few years since I'd seen it. And I didn't like it I still liked it. I just didn't like it as much as when I first watched it. And I think that's because every single death is cut away. You don't see any of the deaths happen at all.
The MPAA totally robbed this movie.
Yeah, had to have. And the whole party it's like it seems to only last for like 10 minutes where everyone dies. And you're like, well, that party went fast. And like, on top of that, the girl who played the Vivia character.
Yeah.
Oh my God, girl. I like every time I saw her, I was like, I wish you would die. That jester outfit is, and she can't decide if she's like into nerds or not. She can't decide if she's like a prude or a slut. And
because she gargles musk.
Yeah, and she's just like an obnoxious. And at the end, spoiler alert, when she's getting into that ambulance with the other girl, and she's like, "No," I'm like, "Yes, girl, you're getting in that ambulance because I'm pretty pissed off you didn't die. So I hope that like you're gonna be dying in this ambulance because I really had an issue with that jester costume. I mean, I couldn't stop talking about it. I was just like, oh my God, it's just so awful."
Oh, see, Vivia is actually my favorite character in the movie. I just think I love her special effects skills and her love for horror. Now, I do understand, like, she's trying to figure out a way to, like, fit in.
That joke is good. The head, like, her head, the model she made, whoever did the special effects for this movie and made that head model.
Vivia did it. She did it herself.
Well,
I'm joking.
was like, no, but it's a better like head cut off model than I have seen in movies that came out, around the same time, like bigger, like Friday the 13th movies and stuff. Like I thought it was a better decapitated head than a lot of horror movies.
Oh yeah, and then it was so good. And even though in the real life special effects person aside, in the movie that they liked it so much, that was their only reason for accepting her into Sigma Alpha Pi. I think is the name of the sorority. But they kind of did her dirty. Now, like I understand that she's kind of annoying.
Kind of is an understatement.
But I just wish that there'd been this scene because she totally doesn't fit in. She's totally in the middle, it feels like. And I would have laughed so hard had there been this scene of her like walking along campus, like by herself, like just like kicking leaves.
Oh my God, she totally needed that. That's in a movie too, isn't it?
I mean, probably, but
no, I mean, I know.
Vivia deserved this. I mean,
obviously it's in a movie, but I think it's in a movie that we watched and we like made fun of it. Anyway, but so these are some things that stood out to me when I was watching the movie. One is it was the 80s. So, and besides the music video at the beginning, their makeup in this movie is really good. They were doing contouring and like you could tell they're not like doing all natural makeup, but like for the 80s especially, they keep it like really light and natural looking, and they like have awesome contouring. I was very impressed with all of their makeup, honestly.
Yeah, and so like at the very beginning in the music video for that White Sister band, April, the star of that video.
I'm saying besides her.
She's what you would expect the 80s with the crimped hair and the heavy eyeliners and shadows. But yeah, I thought Phoebe was gorgeous. And
Jennifer.
Jennifer was super pretty. Like she looked natural, but that was the point. But I mean, yeah, they did a great job, I thought too. Like they didn't do it too much.
Vivia's makeup is good, and like all the sisters in the sorority, like even when they have to do the red paint over their eyes for like the initiation, it still looks like really good makeup. I don't know. I was just shocked because usually watching 80s movies, you're going to see like this over the top blue eyeshadow and like it looks ridiculous. But their makeup, I know like it's kind of a stupid thing to think about, but I mean, their makeup's really good. Like it looks like good makeup.
Well, and that's just another thing to the movie itself. Like it had a lot of really cool things, and I really think based on the head, the special effects head of Vivia, I think that had the MPAA not cut most of all these scenes, that we would have seen a lot more cool makeup and special effects and more natural looking murders and stuff as well. Like I hate that they cut them all out, and because of all this, they flashed all the kills in like 5 minutes. Like boom,
and
stab,
of course,
stab.
Of course, you don't know if this was really, because we don't, this movie's not a big movie. It's not like Friday the 13th. So we really don't know if they even filmed those scenes or if they didn't have enough money. Okay. So they did, and they just cut them out.
Yeah. And when the film was originally shot, one of the sources that I'd read, I mean, it could be a fake source, I don't know, but it said there had been more time that had passed between each murder, which would have given more on-screen violence and more special effects. Like,
yeah, because the party, just like basically just everyone's dead, and it doesn't show. It shows like four of those kills, but they're all cutaways.
They're all cutaways, and then we find a lot of dead bodies. It's just but it's just like they really like you see
the party scene is really fast. It does not seem like it. It's just like all of a sudden it starts and then it's over.
That's true.
So whatever. The other scene that I had an issue with was the honeybee prank scene. Where the guys let the bees out and the girls are in the hot tub naked for some reason outside, but they all have their towels on, yet they start like freaking out and running away while taking their towels off. It's like, what are you? I mean, I get they put that in the movie to show tits, okay, but like
and more.
Everything about that pissed me off because I was like, I was like, I know I was one of those people. My mom every summer, because I'm allergic to bees, don't go outside without your shoes on. What did I do? I went outside every year with my shoes off, and I always got stung. So, I mean, I get that. But, like, you have a towel on Why don't you just run the fuck inside or dunk under the water?
They lock
and
the doors.
Also, keep your towel on because that's
Yeah.
less area of your body that a bee can sting you, dumbasses. Like, what are you doing?
Definitely keep your towel on. It didn't make sense to run around them and like throw their towels off. But then they tried to get in the doors and the doors were locked. They done something to keep the doors.
Also, it wasn't my girl. So, I mean, like, they had one small mason jar of bees. It wasn't like a whole, like, drove of bees. It was one small mason jar of bees. So maybe like 10 bees.
And they hadn't even, since My Girl hadn't even come out for 5 more years or whatever, they didn't even know the trauma of Thomas J. Sennett. I mean, come on now.
You can't see without his glasses.
Oh my God, don't. Mm-mm.
Okay, so
but with the honeybees, I thought it was really clever of those two that led the prank. Well, minus Virgil, the delivery man, but the two kind of nerdy frat brothers.
Once they dress as like honeybees, and
they dressed up as bumblebees for the thing. I thought that was
still
funny.
Not as bad as the jester outfit, but
that one bee, he was pretty gross.
I mean, his death was pretty cool though.
That was neat, but why is there a sewer drain in the middle of the floor? I mean, it looked like a sewer grate.
Yeah, and so we move on to this everyone's dead situation, and I think Jennifer does I took some still shots of her because sometimes her face is really hilarious.
Oh my
but
God.
I think like I'm gonna get to the hair part.
Oh yes.
But before that, like I think she does pretty well being possessed.
She acts like, I mean, I'm not going to say Linda Blair was fantastic. But,
yeah, I mean, okay, of course. this is not me comparing her performance.
I am comparing it to Linda Blair in the terms of creep factors, like without actual, expensive special effects, because you'll get into some of that. I can already tell, but she was creepy. Her tongue was wagging. She was making these scary noises. She was slashing around. I mean, she was scary. She did. And
the only time she doesn't seem as scary is when she's supposedly on the ceiling, and you can tell she's not on the ceiling, and they've just turned the camera upside down because her hair has become completely flat, not moving, and like sticking up straight. So you can tell it's just hairspray.
That is hilarious. I love that scene, but I thought that would have somewhat scared you, just because I know that you're when it comes to like bodies moving weird and abruptly, like it kind of cuts to her, like kind of running at you, and then it cuts back. So I just thought that might have freaked you out. I thought it was more hilarious when she's riding that chandelier like a bull at a cowboy bar.
Right. I forgot about that. Yeah. No, that's not really the type of body horror that I'm talking about when I'm talking more about the shaking, and then like it like is sped up a lot.
Like a lot more sped up than what that was. Okay.
A lot more, like Jacob's Ladder type of stuff. Or that guy, or the that's and I don't like this movie, but the scene in House on Haunted Hill, the remake, where he's looking into the security camera and that doctor.
Oh, I hate him. He
does the really fast, he like moves really fast in that part. That kind of thing freaks me out. Or like the song Tourniquet by Marilyn Manson, the movements of that mannequin.
I got you. I know exactly.
Those creep. I mean, basically, Marilyn Manson was good at making horror, like short 3-minute horror movies.
Hell yeah.
So, I mean, I think, listen, if rock stars can become these horror movie directors now, why is he not one?
Why is he not? You're right.
I mean, let's get rid of Rob Zombie and bring in Marilyn Manson to do these movies.
I stand that.
I think he has a way better vision for stuff, honestly.
I like that.
Like as far as like scary. Hey, Marilyn, I know you're listening.
You know what? If he did do a movie, you know what I would do? A quote from this movie, if I found out that Marilyn Manson was going to direct a movie, I would run through my kitchen and go, woo, woo.
Oh my God. Okay. So when I was watching that last night with my friend Jessica, and when she comes in, it's like at the very beginning.
Yeah.
When she comes in, she goes, woo, woo. I was like, oh my God, me and Alex used to do that. Like, we used to, like, I don't know how my mom got through without thinking that we were like challenged and
well, she probably
in a lot of mental ways.
She probably thought about all of these things about what was going on up in the bonus room, and she probably looked in the mirror and said, I myself prefer a big fat cucumber.
Oh my God. I just imagine, let me just go off
That's
on
a quote from the movie.
quick I know it is
Oh,
because they have
for
to
anyone
say they have to
listening.
say
I
it
don't
out.
want to.
They have they have to say it out loud. And then when the guys respond to them, the sorority woman that made them say it like yells at the guys, and it's like, well, what that your point? Why are you being rude to them just because they responded to someone screaming about a cucumber in their mouth?
You know why they're doing that? Because these are the best times of
Of
our
our lives.
lives.
These are the best
By the way,
times.
by the way, that's like Bananarama Light. They would have done much better. Come on now.
I also want to just say these are definitely not the best times of these people's lives. And
Well,
because
they might be.
they play it again at the end, and it's like, well, it really wasn't the best. They maybe at the beginning they had high hopes for their lives, but now they really don't think that.
Yeah,
So
they're playing it as Vivian gets launched into the thing with possessed Phoebe, and then it's like flashing ambulance lights. These are the best times. It's like she's probably in there getting her soul sucked out
hopefully
right
she's getting murdered. But
now.
I mean, I was hoping that. So, so I'm gonna go off on a quick tangent and tell you guys kind of like what my mom had to deal with Alex and I, because that was this. It brings it back to this. So these are just two things I'm thinking of off the top of my head. We would make my mom come upstairs and watch us recreate a 5-second scene from the Slumber Party Massacre Part 1 trailer where I just lifted a blanket off of Alex and he would sit up real fast. And we thought that we should show her that as because it was a critical. I mean, we thought we were the best.
Yeah, many times
we gave her no context for what we were doing. We just made her come and watch us do that. And I'm sure she just was like, what is wrong with them? Like, what?
Be in her inner monologue. I would have loved it.
And then we would make her watch us listening to that song in Slumber Party Massacre 3 and then sit up on the back of the couch and pretend we were having a good time on a convertible. and then we would also do the woo woo from Killer Party. We thought it was so funny when she runs in and jumps up and says woo woo. So we would do that in front of my mom with no context. So
she probably thought it was a trend at the time. Even I mean,
oh, who knows? I mean, we made her like we also made her listen to us rap. Hey, we want some pussy by Two Live Crew. Like until I remember finally she was like, listen, this doesn't shock me. I just don't want to hear this song anymore. You've been playing it for like 6 months straight. I don't care. I'm just over it. And she did the same thing with Everybody Get Your Roll On. I remember. And I was just like, well, dang. I mean, I would do these things thinking I'd shock her. And she was just like, I don't care. Like when I told her I was going to call like, DCS if she spanked me again. And she was like, she just goes, fine, they'll just take you away from us and you'll have to live in an orphanage. Is that what you want? I was like, well, no. So
no, not really. So
I thwarted again. I can't win with this woman. I mean, it's not like she was abusing me anyway. I was just trying to threaten her, and she'd always, I'm gonna run away. Okay, fine. I'll help you back. Where are you gonna go? Like,
right.
So there's a little clip of my mom. So, any more thoughts about
Yeah. So
sorry, we went on a tangent about Becky Dunlap, but
no, I was gonna go through like 3 of my favorite kills from the movie, even though we don't see a lot of them. I did want to like talk about a couple.
Okay.
First of all, what's up with the old-fashioned diving costume? I mean, there's some pretty big loopholes already with that. Like, who was in it? I mean, we assume it was Alan possessing somebody in that suit, but like, why not just keep that person possessed? Like, how did you go from that person to Jennifer? Like, I don't understand the whole like transference of this demonic.
Also, he was not a demon. He was a ghost. So,
but later on, he says he says that doesn't work on demons or something. Whenever right after Phoebe kills Jennifer and then it hops into Phoebe's body, he says something about it being a demonic possession.
Yeah, but it's just not.
It doesn't make.
It doesn't make sense because this is what doesn't make sense.
Huge loopholes.
Like, he died at this place because of a prank gone wrong. For some reason, they've buried him in the yard of where the accident happened.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Why would you ever do that?
It worked for Fido, so why not Alan?
I mean, you'd think that his parents would not want him buried where he died, in a tragic accident, but whatever. And then 3, so that just means he's a ghost.
That's what I thought.
And so, but all of a sudden he's a demon now. Like, I
Right?
know, I think he's a fake demon. I think that he's a ghost and he just wishes he was a
He
better
just
ghost.
wishes he's. I mean, like maybe a ghost turns into a demon when you smash their headstone. I don't even know what that was about either. But
No,
but
it doesn't make any sense.
like, it doesn't just make sense. Like, and why go after Jennifer if you're already in this literal like steel armor, old fashioned diving costume that's unstoppable, and you're a ghosty demon? Like, why would you switch into this little girl? And I don't know. It just made no sense.
And also, as far as I know, like she doesn't do that many kills.
Does
'Cause
she?
her-
She doesn't kill anybody.
No, and she just kind of her demonic possession comes out in the last like 15 minutes in the movie. It's just like, for what?
I have a theory on why it does that. Well, first of all, I have two theories. First of all, I think it does switch the movie from like what we thought was a slasher to an actual like possession-y type movie. Like,
Which I don't think works. I just don't think it worked very well.
well, just because we didn't really know if it was a slasher or a ghosty thing at the beginning, because they cut out the actual kills. They cut out the slashing. They slashed the slashing, so we didn't really even get to accept it that way. And then when they did the possession part, it was basically for like no reason. She did nothing but crawl around with stiff hairspray hair, and that's about it. Like nothing happened. But
even when she like told Phoebe to kill her, and then it went into Phoebe anyway. So,
and that right there, I think, while it didn't work the way that they wanted to, I think one of the things it sort of did was it switched the final girl trope. You thought that Phoebe was going to be the heroine. You sure as hell didn't think Vivia was going to be the final girl, which that's undecided or to be,
I hope
whatever.
she's dead, and I hope.
But they switched the final girl trope. They made the heroine the villain in the last minute of the movie.
I think that my issue with this movie is another movie we've talked about. I feel like it. I cannot remember which one now, but it just. Oh, we were talking about Slumber Party Massacre 1. It just doesn't. It feels like it doesn't know what kind of movie it wants to be. I think it was on purpose that they added in this demonic possession to be different than other slashers coming out at the time. But at the same time, they have a lot of comedy in this movie because of the slasher aspect. Like, during especially the late 80s, they were doing a lot of that kind of stuff. And then they throw in this demonic possession, and it just gets really convoluted. It's like a Ryan Murphy joint.
It's like
it just adds in way too much. It's just like you have too much going on, so you
episode
can't.
7 on a Ryan Murphy show, all of a sudden you've got ghosts, you've got vampires, you've got serial killers, you've got everything.
Right.
And like it's just too much.
Like, I like Ryan Murphy, but like his whole thing with like having 75 plot twists, like, no, I need you to do just like one thing that's not going to be like that, please. I mean, I like Glee, and it doesn't do it that much, but it's a TV show, so you have to have like plot twists in order for the show to keep going.
Yeah.
And I really liked the feud Betty and Joan, and that didn't really, because it was just telling the story of them. So I mean, I like some of his work.
OJ and Versace was good too. I mean,
I loved those.
There's no plot twists.
I don't like American Horror Story. I know you do, but I semi enjoyed 1984. But once again, it was the typical Ryan Murphy joint where they threw in everything, including the kitchen sink. And it's just like, that's what this movie kind of feels like, because they only have, it's a pretty short movie. It's 92 minutes.
Yeah.
So they are throwing in all of these different aspects of the movie. So they want to show these girls pledging. They want to show the creepy guys. They want to show some kind of romance. They want to show that these girls are having fun. They want to show a party. They want to show like people getting killed slasher wise. Then they want to throw in a demonic possession. And it's just like what? It's just too much, because they can't spend enough time on any of those things, like enough time for it to really flesh out for me as being, I mean, I like this movie, but I think I would have liked it a lot more if they just stuck with something and fleshed the characters out more, because they had time to do that.
Well, I think that the cuts by the MPAA really fucked with the movie and really ruined a lot of it we didn't get to see anyone die. Everything seemed so much rushed.
Right. But
And
that's
even
not that. But that shouldn't like
because
that still
I
doesn't.
didn't I had no issue with it because it actually like when you look back at the movie you can tell it's not going to be a straight up slasher because when the house mother goes and starts talking to Alan like he's going to respond to her, she's like, they're going to come over here, I'm letting them come over, be nice or something. Like you can already know
Yeah.
there's something supernatural going on, and
Yeah.
they just didn't execute it distinctly enough for me. But I don't think it ruined it. I think that it
I
was
don't think it. No, I don't think it. I don't think it ruined it. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't hate this movie. It's like I like it. I wouldn't watch it all the time, but I am not that into possession movies anyway. Besides, like The Exorcist,
an Evil Dead.
and well, but Evil Dead even gets a little slow for me after I've watched it a lot.
Well, true.
But like. So I guess I probably just would have liked it more because I personally enjoy like that era of slashers.
I would have
So
liked to see the deaths. Yeah.
yes, I would have. I mean, I would have see the deaths, but I also think just adding in that possession just for me personally it just didn't work for me as much. It did make me laugh because it's ridiculous, but like I just think that if they had just done a straight. I mean, I understand why they added stuff in, but at the same time, if they had just had a straight slasher movie and actually showed some of the kills, and I'm not saying they had to get that graphic. I mean, they cut away from every single kill.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, completely. You don't see it, and you barely see the aftermath of most of them too.
Yeah.
So, like, if they had put those back in, I don't think that a lot of slasher fans would have given a shit that that it was just another one of those type of movies because the formula works.
It does. So while we talked, a lot how we don't really see a lot of the deaths, I still have three favorite ones. So
okay, so I don't. So
you're like I know.
I mean, I can't
your favorite
remember
death is your favorite death is the one you're imagining Vivia having.
Yes, for sure. That is actually true.
So I liked Woody's death with the guillotine because we finally we should be able to see the stunt actually really happening. And there's probably, for poor little ghosty demon Allen boy, there's probably some cathartic release if since that's how he supposedly died with the prank gone wrong.
Is that how he did? I think I missed that part while I was watching it.
I'm pretty sure it was that, but even if it wasn't that specific prank, I thought it was. He was decapitated.
I mean, I've already said, like, honestly, I've seen this movie before on Lifetime. They've had two different versions of it, but
yeah, I mean, I think that's how it was. But even if it wasn't decapitation with the guillotine, he was killed with some prank gone wrong in a hazing experiment. I just thought it was that one, and that was why Vivia, I thought, was then recreating that specific one in that forbidden fraternity.
Too soon, Vivia. God,
too soon, girl.
Have some class.
And then number two, okay. Bay of the movie was Blake. Sorry, fight me.
Yeah, no, yeah. Mm-hmm. Wait, which one? Let me make sure I know which
Blake
one
is Jennifer's. He dressed up like a football.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The bad boy one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I mean, I like both of those guys, like Phoebe's and hers, but I like Jennifer's. Yes, more so.
But seeing him drown in the bathtub would have been creepy as fuck if I'd actually seen his actual death.
Right, and then you finally just see him. All you do is see him in the bathtub.
You see him get lured into the bathroom, and then like 20 minutes later, they stumble upon his dead body.
Yeah, yeah.
So I still rank it just because of how the body was found and how traumatic it would have been to see.
So.
Yeah, it will. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And my favorite one is Virgil, and it's not because of how he died, because he as he's reaching for the refrigerator door, his arm you can tell it's about to get cut off. But then later on, when I think Vivia or Phoebe 1 opens the refrigerator, and you see his body dismembered and placed all over the place.
I did like that, yeah.
Like, so that to me shows that like they had some really cool things going on. We just didn't get to see any of them.
And clearly they were good at it, because the stuff I saw with the aftermath or with like Vivia's head.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looked better than a lot of severed heads I've seen in movies, even now. I mean, it looked
better than Pamela Voorhees. Bye.
It looked better than the guy's head that gets, I don't know if it gets chopped off, but it turns fake when his eye's coming out in part 3 of Friday the 13th. When his eye pops out.
Oh, in the shower when it's popping out.
Yeah, like, it's better than that.
I mean, I think it's also better than the one from the pervert in part 4 watching the porn that when he gets stabbed behind the projector and then it flashes to his fake head for like a split second.
Oh,
Just a
it
split
does
second.
the same thing in part 7 when but Tina finds it, that like stoner, or no, the guy that writes sci-fi, he gets his head cut off, and after that bitchy girl won't have sex with him, and then when Tina goes into the house, like she hits a lamp over or something, but the head falls off too. That one wasn't as bad. That was pretty okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still think the head in this one was better.
Yeah. And aside from, deaths aside, this one should have been a death, but I don't know how it wasn't. So aside from Jennifer crawling on them on the walls and the ceiling and like like slamming her tongue like who did it and ran. I think the creepiest scene is when Phoebe and Vivia, like I think they're crawling out the window at the top, and then like it's like an arched window, and as they're getting out of the window, the camera slowly pans out, and you can see there's something on top of the window, and the second you realize it's Jennifer and it's a person, she picks up Vivia by her head and throws her off the building. Like that should have killed her but it didn't. But that was creepy to me. Like it just freaked me out. I don't know. I liked it.
So I'm going to give a few pieces of like trivia about the movie real quick. So you were right about the limited theatrical release. Apparently, this is unconfirmed, but it only made a total of $900 from 5 theaters before it was released on VHS.
Jeez.
So, and this is something we've been talking about because Alex and I are going to review Slaughter High, and I think that we should probably do April. We should have do April Fool's Day and then have like an April Fool's kind of special, because this Killer Party's April Fool's Day, Slaughter High's April Fool's, and April Fool's Day obviously is April Fool's. But so it says when released in 1986, the title was changed from the April Fool's to Killer Party because the distributors feared that it would be confused with the film April Fool's Day, which was released around that time. So what's funny is Slaughter High had to change its name from April Fool's Day because of the movie April Fool's Day. And this movie had to change their title from something similar too. So I think that's interesting. It was filmed at the same university as Urban Legend.
Yep, I recognize that.
So here's about the cuts by the NBA. So MPAA, sorry, not the NBA. The National Basketball Association made the cuts.
We got Lonzo and Melo out here making cuts to movies.
Yeah, Steph Curry's out here just like editing horror movies left and right. Okay, so I'm just imagining that, like, as everyone's side job in the NBA, like as when you sign up and you have to do like 30 hours of community service by editing horror movies from the 80s or something. Sorry. Okay. And so it says the film suffered severe cuts by the MPAA. As a result, most of the murders occur off camera and feature little to no gore or violence. Because of this, the filmmakers edited the film in such a way in that the murderers seem to happen immediately after each other in quick succession. When the film was originally shot, more time had passed between each murder, which included special effects and on-screen violence. Ironically, the promotional material released feature several shots of the excise deaths, including Pam getting skewered by the trident and Virgil with his hands chopped off. So there we go on that. So it was heavily cut. And even though sometimes IMDb can give information that might not be all the way correct, that sounds about right for me. Like, so when Sherry Willis Birch originally auditioned,
that's Vivia.
That's Vivia. She also was a sorority girl in Final Exam, which is not. I do not like that movie at all. But
womp womp.
So when she originally auditioned, it was a much smaller part in the script, and she was the first character to die. When she won the role, she was surprised to see the script had been rewritten. Vivia's role had been expanded, and she even made it to the finale.
Yeah.
I do not like that.
Woo woo. You know what I'd say to that?
Woo woo. And so it says, shot in October while The first half of the film takes place at the beginning of the school year in autumn. The second half of the film is supposed to take place in the spring and includes scenes of actors bundled in winter coats and even snowflakes. I mean, it could be cold in April, so. And then lastly, this was the most recent MGM release to be part of Turner Entertainment's acquisition of MGM's library in 1986. So that's interesting, I guess, kind of.
Another thing that I like about this movie that we clearly don't need to go into, we might in the future. The formula for this movie is similar to another movie that we like a lot. Slasher Turned Possession, 1990. It's a sequel. You really hurt me.
Oh, that's not part 3. That's part 2.
No, I know.
Oh, you just said sequel. Yes.
Yeah, it's a sequel. So, yes, Sorority House Massacre 2's got Slasher Turned Possession vibes as well.
I bet Hard to Die does too. I just didn't get through it. But I bet it does because it has the Orville Ketchum character. So I bet, and some of the same actors. So I bet one of them is going to get possessed in it.
Nice.
So we'll see. But is there anything else you want to talk about with Killer Party?
Well, what do you think about the scene where, so the whole reason that, Vivia is accepted is so she can recreate the prank that she did for the boys.
Right.
Then while they're getting that set up, the boys do their own, they know what's going on and they do their own prank of their own to kill one of them, each other. And so like, I just wonder why.
I can't answer that, but I will say, just piggybacking off your comment like that, I was watching it with a friend who is a little more not okay with stuff. Like, she can't watch stuff through, like, she can, but there's some things that, like, no matter what, watching it through a cultural lens, it doesn't matter. It just
still has triggering effects.
Yeah, which I'm not like that at all. So, all these guys are like, she thought they seemed so bad, and I was like, they're really actually, like, for this time period, those guys are like very respectful and nice. I mean, like, yeah, they have that one like nerdy guy that's going around like hitting on everybody, but like it's not like if people say no to him, he like doesn't just walk away. He doesn't like try. He doesn't force himself on him. Plus, he's part of their friend group.
Yeah, Marty was the biggest creeper to me. I thought Woody and Blake were very respectful in terms of
but what I'm saying is, even Marty, he's not like, yeah, he makes stupid jokes and he isn't afraid to put himself out there, but he's not aggressive with rejection or anything like that, which, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with any one guy or a girl, like, go and if you see someone you think is attractive, go hit on them. Hitting on, like, see what happens. Now, if they don't respond well, you don't keep going, but like, give it a shot.
The skeezy thing with Martin is that he was using Vivia to get into that party so he could get with Jennifer. And then he kept hitting on every other girl, even though he'd just been making out with Vivia. And then, oh, Jennifer must be in that room. Maybe she's changing or whatever he's doing.
I mean, that just means he's I know, but I just see him as a desperate character. So it's like
he's skeezier than Blake and Woody to me.
No, he is skeezier, but I think that's because he's clearly lived a very nerd lifestyle where he hasn't ever had luck with. I mean,
isn't he picking on them at the beginning of the movie, like peeping Tom on him or something? I mean, he's returning her notebook. Doesn't he like? He
doesn't really. He goes. It's supposed to be a red herring, really, because you only see his feet, but it just shows someone picking up. Oh. She drops her book, and it shows his like feet coming up and picking it up, so he can give it back to her. So it's not like it was like a stalking situation or anything.
Gotcha.
I just think he's like the typical 80s nerd that hasn't had luck with women and is just, like, I don't know. I don't really see those guys as skeezy. I see
we see how people like that have turned out. So, I mean, he's in the making of a creeper.
I mean, sure, maybe like he finally gets a girlfriend that, like, whips him into shape.
He just wants to be appreciated.
I mean, it just, it's another movie where I'm just like, stop watching. I know you're in 2020, and yeah, you can like think about this after you watch the movie or whatever if you want to or if you don't. But don't go into watching these movies with this 2020 outlook, because there's so much stuff that was acceptable.
I mean, even though hazing wasn't that bad, I mean, it was just you have to catch a raw egg in your mouth or something like.
Yeah, and they do spank one of them, but they did the same thing to the guys in Animal House. So that's not. I didn't see that as.
I'm not gonna say Animal House is the legend for, or
no,
the cornerstone for respectable men.
Well, but for one, that's the 70s, and the thing I'm saying about that is not anything about that part of it. I'm just saying, like, it's not like a female male, like something. This doesn't happen to males, and this only would happen to females, because it happens mostly in other movies to males. Is the spanking thing like at fraternities? Yeah, so I mean, I don't see that as like
the worst character in the movie. I can't even remember her name. It was
like the main. I don't know. I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't like the main. Like,
I think her name was Veronica.
Yeah, you might be right. I think she had
this worst attitude and the worst, like, I mean, but that's not a time related thing. People are still just that narcissistic and mean and petty and dramatic and childish.
A lot of this stuff still happens, and
I got possessed at my party that I went to a couple weeks ago. I mean, that happened.
Well, you know what? Well, you probably did alcohol, but like, I mean, like, just the college pranks, like the stuff like that. You know, when we're looking at movies from the 80s, like Revenge of the Nerds and all those and stuff. It's like, watch it with, don't want, you know, yeah, it's something you can talk about afterwards and how like times have changed, but don't get all pissy. And when you're watching this kind of movie in the 80s, when there was a specific formula they used, yes, maybe it's outdated and it's archaic and it's not okay now, but that it was okay then. It's kind of like the R word was okay in the 90s. It was actually the term that you were supposed to use. And now it's like you can't say that word at all. So it's like, watch it with the right kind of lens and understand that like things that were going on at that time might have not been okay, but it was the norm. So yeah.
I'll say what they should have done from the lens. No matter what lens you put on, in this party, there is a mounted marlin on the wall with a sharp nose, and they didn't use that to kill anybody, did they?
No, I don't know.
What a wasted prop.
Yep. Well, you know, there was a lot of waste here. Like, I mean, it sounds like I really hated the movie. I really don't. I just really hated the movie.
Blake's outfit. Why is he wearing shoulder pads on top of a Henley? Like,
it took me forever to figure out what he even was.
He's not a football player.
He is, but like,
how?
But at the beginning, he's sitting down, and so I didn't really. I didn't see the whole like the bottom part, so I was like, "What is that?" And then I realized, oh, that's what you wear underneath a football uniform. But why you couldn't find a jersey to go over it?
Seriously, yeah. I'm just like, why? Like, whatever.
I mean, that's the least of our worries.
That's the least of our worries. Honestly. But I love this movie, and like, I actually own the VHS and the DVD.
I do. I have it on DVD, and
that's how I roll.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to do an April Fool's masquerade party. Bye.
No, yeah, I mean, I think I'm surprised at how many, when I started thinking about it, how many movies, well, it's only 3, but I mean, 3 movies in that time period that were all like April Fool's themed, because in the 80s, they were notorious for liking to make movies based around holidays. So, you know, which is pretty smart for marketing. It could come out around that time. And
I mean, that's the exact same thing that Into the Dark is now doing with Blumhouse Productions on Hulu. Every holiday for the last 16 months they've released a new.
Whatever.
Well, you know, they have like Puka for Christmas. They've got a Thanksgiving one. I mean, every holiday basically.
Well, there are a lot of Thanksgiving, like there are 3 I can think of: The Mutilator, Blood Rage.
But these are all. I'm just saying that formula is coming back to an extent.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you can capitalize on it really well. So
yeah, and it becomes just a seasonal, like you watch them every season. Like, I mean, I like to read and watch seasonally. I think it just enhances the current experience. So
I agree. Like on Friday the 13th, I wanted to watch all the Friday the 13th.
yeah,
Except for on Halloween, I would rather watch I'll watch Halloween themed movies, but I'm not a big fan of the Halloween series. So I'm more into like Trick or Treat and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. And I think that, this is a random thing back to Friday the 13th, but I'm pretty sure. So this movie was, I remembered looking this up a while back because we talked about doing this show. Barney Cohen wrote this movie, and Barney Cohen wrote Friday the 13th Final Chapter. And then Professor Zito is supposed to be an homage to Joseph Zito from that movie.
Yeah, and he's a pretty big actor too.
Yeah, so even though I don't like
the guy that plays him.
I didn't like the Professor Zito in the movie. He was kind of
Oh, he was such a prude.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's why I didn't like him.
He really was a prude.
But all in all, I would say I would give Killer Party 3.5 stars from me.
I think I would do 3. I think I'm on 3, 2.5 to 3. That doesn't mean I don't like it. It just means there are other slasher movies I like more.
Yeah. I mean, in any movie that has a great song, like all those other great movies that we've seen too, you know, the Slumber Parties, the Sleepaways, the Fridays. I mean, they have some cool music, but these actually have some real music, like the White Sisters.
Actually, I found some stuff from part 4. I'll send them to you, but I found some songs from like part 4, and then Alice Cooper did a song for part 7, like The Man Behind the Mask, and like, yeah.
But these are these are very popular and lucrative franchises that are doing this with mainstream. And this is a movie that you said made $900 in theaters, and they have they have a Casey and the Sunshine song in it. They have that White Sister song in it. I mean, it was interesting to me, and I think this is Canadian, so the fact that they even have this type of music at all was interesting. So, but yeah, I mean, the White Sister April song, or whatever the name of the song is, I think it's You're No Fool. It's a total bop, and again, Best Times is a banger for the ages. Did I
tell you that I found Hell's Cafe on YouTube? So I transferred it to an MP3. I'll send it to you. Oh, yeah. The song from Slumber Party Massacre 2, like Hell's Cafe. Yeah, that one. I'll send it to you.
I love it.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah. And then we can't forget He Knows You're Alone, the song It's the Night Again, which is one of my favorite songs of all time.
I mean, 80s movies have the best music.
Well, I mean, but you know what I'm talking about. He Knows You're Alone is like literally one of the best songs I've ever heard.
Well, I mean, it's up there, but it's not my top 50.
Oh, it's up there. It's up there for me. I'm telling you, it's totally up there. But so I guess that we can end this episode now.
Yeah.
So thanks for being on. Well, thanks for being on. It's our show. What are we talking about?
You're welcome. I'm glad that I was here to talk about it on our show.
I'm glad you showed up. Thanks.
Woo woo.
Woo woo. And guys, if you haven't seen Killer Party, it is you can. I bet it's on Tubi. I didn't check, but I know that you can rent it on Amazon
for a couple bucks. Yeah.
Yeah. And they also have it. VHSPS.com is a great website that transfers rare VHS movies that you can't usually get onto a DVD, and they're $10 a piece, and they do really good transfers. And I've gotten some stuff off of there that they have some pretty cool stuff. So check that out also.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. So anyway, I'll be talking to you next time when we're going to be discussing the next movie. We're not going to say because I don't know what order these are being put out in. So
it's a surprise to even us.
It's going to be, we're even surprised. So, okay. Well, thank you, Alex. And you can thank me too.
Oh, thank you, Emily.
Yeah,
for everything.
You're welcome. Thank you. Let's thank each other for having an awesome show, because it is.
It is.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye. And remember, gag yourself with a knife.
Feels good.